Only a 7-game Major League Baseball slate on a Monday, but a couple of marquee matchups to break down for you and review here live on a Tuesday morning on the early line on SportsGrid. 4 games this weekend into Monday afternoon as well between the Rays and the Orioles at the Trop in Tampa. That would be an American League East divisional duel where Baltimore had the number of their divisional foe. 5-2 the victory in the fourth and final game of the set yesterday. The fourth and final win for Baltimore against the Rays. A 4-game sweep complete yesterday at the Trop. 5-2 the victory for the O's. Gunnar Henderson homered on the very first pitch of the game for Baltimore. Corbin Burns was great on the bump. 7 innings of shutout work. And Ryan O'Hearn added in 3 RBIs as well. Baltimore now, DRS, booked as a minus 142 road money line favorite yesterday, has won 14 of its last 18 games.
Yeah, how about this? 22-10 on the road also. And usually playing in the Trop, not the easiest place because you don't have a great environment for baseball, number one. But number two, Tampa Bay is usually a pretty solid team. So that's impressive to get that 4-way sweep. But also, when you look at the Baltimore Orioles, we saw last year, and we didn't think it was a fluke. They had a very good lineup, solid pitching staff. Right. But when you go out in the offseason, you say, you know what, let's acquire a true number one and see what he can do and see if he can propel this ball club. Corbin Burns yesterday improves to 7-2. 7 innings pitched. Now, he did give up 2 runs, but none of them earned. Look at his ERA now, 2.08. How many times have you seen in Major League Baseball, okay, let me pay a lot of money for a guy that we think could be the frontline starter of our staff, and he's either injured or underperforming? This was an absolute home run. Not even the Baltimore Orioles' staunchest fan base could get out there and say to themselves, boy, if we acquire this guy, he better have a 2 ERA or less. Like, no, you just expect him to go out and give you solid performances on a night-to-night basis and quality starts. He's giving you Cy Young-level performances through 92 pitches yesterday. 43-22 in the season. They're not going away. Yeah. They have their frontline starter. The only question is, are they going to improve that starting staff once the trade deadline comes up? But from yesterday, we expected a victory out of the Orioles, and we got it.
That record, by the way, 43-22, the second best mark in all of the American League, but second best even in their own division as the Orioles still trail the Yankees by 2.5 games for the top spot. Why? Because if 43 wins is happening for Baltimore, 47 wins now for New York. We'll talk about the pitching performance of Carlos Rodon in just a moment, but big news yesterday for the Yanks. We didn't expect it to be a long-term injury or sideline notice for Juan Soto, but he did miss the entire weekend of a marquee matchup in the Bronx against the LA Dodgers. Did not play in any of those 3 games against the Dodgers. Did make his return to the Pinstripes lineup yesterday on the road in Kansas City against the Royals. Got a base knock in his first at-bat, and then Rodon was brilliant on the bump again. 7 starts for Carlos Rodon, 7 straight victories for Rodon as the Yankees get a 4-2 win, booked as a road favorite in Kansas City.
Nice win for them, too, because it's always interesting when you see how they're going to do with Aaron Judge out of the lineup and then also what you were going to get from Juan Soto, which is fine. They got out to a 4-0 lead, held on for a 4-2 victory. And also, as we pointed out, Carlos Rodon needed that bounce back. This is a high-priced pitcher here in an environment where you expected him to be great last year, and he wasn't. He wasn't even solid. He was bad. This year now, starting to come on strong. 7 innings pitched there, the 1 earned run, 2.93 ERA. And also, the shame of it here, Seth Lugo looked like he was on a run like, hey, guys, don't forget about me. I could be Cy Young. Now, still, if you're telling me at this month here that we're talking in June, on June 11th, that he's going to be 9-2 with an ERA of 2.36, you take that every single time for Kansas City. Right. Bumped up a little bit in those last couple starts, 7 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, which is fine against one of the better lineups in baseball. But that's a good win for the Yankees. If you are going to get these type of pitching performances, you're going to do a lot of damage. As you see the Yanks, 47 wins on the season and still waiting for Garrett Cole to get back into that rotation.
It really is impressive. The best record in Major League Baseball now, that's the New York Yankees. And again, the most wins in all of MLB with 47. Seth Lugo entered this month of June with a 9-1 record and a 1.72 ERA. He has not been great, though, in the last 2 outings for KC. 9 earned runs given up in total in his 2 starts in June. He gave up 8 total earned and 6 starts made in the month of May. But to Donnie's point, a 9-2 record with a 2.36 ERA. Yeah. Kansas City more than happy with the overall body of work for Seth Lugo. The Royals still trying to get win number 40, which took them until August 18th a season ago. They will certainly outpace that this year in 2024. Donnie, we looked at the card yesterday. Only 7 games. 3 of the 7 featured a team at home booked as greater than a $2 favorite. And one that you were a little skeptical of the price was in Seattle between the Mariners and the White Sox. Chicago, the worst team in MLB, the only team in the majors without at least 20 wins, 17 for the White Sox. But they put a charge into Seattle yesterday, maybe getting win number 18, and not so much. Tied at 4 into the final frame in the bottom of the 9th. Cal Raleigh, a walk-off grand salami for Seattle as the M's victorious 8-4. Again, booked as a minus 215 home money line favorite. They do eventually make good on that hefty price.
Yeah, how about that? You're getting plus 200 yesterday. You enter into the bottom of the 8th inning as a 4-0 leader here, which the Chicago White Sox were, and they end up getting beat 8-4. Like, you didn't even say, okay, let me just take the run line, get the 1.5 runs. I should be fine. You got hammered because you gave up a grand slam in the 9th inning. Like, this game was 4-0, and by the time you got to the 9th, it was 4-4. By the time you ended the 9th inning, it was 8-4 at that point. That's what bad baseball teams do. Lose 4-run leads with 6 outs to go in a game, 17-50 on the season. But you take a look at Luis Robert yesterday, did hit the home run, but apparently was supposed to be traded to Philadelphia. Somehow we didn't get the message in Philadelphia that Luis Robert was supposed to be here. So look at that. So he's putting his tail like, you know what? I got to play tonight. At least let me get a home run out here in these streets.
Yeah, so what Donnie is referring to, if you are not online, if you are not a member of Social Media Buster Only, the ESPN baseball reporter had his Twitter account hacked yesterday, and a lot was going on.
Hackers.
Luis Robert back in the lineup for Chicago, by the way, has been great. The 2-run shot yesterday, good over the weekend in Boston as well. But everything is bad for the White Sox. 17-50. Again, the only team in the bigs without at least 22 wins. They haven't even got to the 20-win threshold at this moment, up 4-0, entering the bottom of the 8th yesterday. For Seattle, meanwhile, they've won 11 of their last 15 games. They remain the only team in the American League West that has a winning record. And a little bit more of a distinction over other foes in the division, as in extra innings yesterday in San Francisco, the Astros come up short as well. The Giants, a 4-3 victory. One of my favorite things about a runner starting on second in extras is it makes it look like it was a high-scoring affair. We were tied at 1-1 entering the 10th inning. The Astros scored 2, and the Giants scored 3 to walk it off by the Bay, 4-3 the win for San Francisco.
That is the great part about betting overs, too, because when you head to extra innings, you have a chance to explode. It used to be back in the day, like, maybe you get, you have to obviously get 1 run, but that's usually all you would get. Now you have a chance for multiple runs in the top part of the inning and the bottom part of the inning. So also, if you're betting RBIs, it's sensational. You're right. 1-1 didn't have very good looks. 5 total runs scored in the 10th inning here. And again, the Astros get beat 30-37, dropping farther and farther back there in the AL West. It's almost fork time for those Astros. That'll be our running, theme throughout the entire summer.
For sure.
Putting the fork in and taking the fork out of the Houston Astros.
8 games back of the Mariners. Of course, the M's still remain the only team with a winning record in the AL West. But they're 5.5 games back are the Astros in terms of any wild card conversation. Now, it's early. It's not even the middle of June yet, and we're talking wild card picture in Major League Baseball. But the Astros have the 4th worst record in the American League at this moment in terms of that wild card positioning. The fork is starting to make its way out of the drawer even more so. Austin Slater, game-winning RBI single for San Francisco to walk it off yesterday. More Major League Baseball recaps up next. More Major League Baseball recaps from a short slate on a Monday. Only 7 games, but that means we have a full slate on a Tuesday. And I feel like at this time of year, plenty of RBI props coming up on this Tuesday evening.
Yeah, by the way, maybe the best team with their early matchup indicators here. I got 5 total RBI shots just from the Angels alone tonight. Could
Wow.
be a good night tonight, BSS. Could be a good one.
From the Angels alone, or the Angels matchup in the game overall, or just strictly looking
just
at the Halos roster? Oh, my
Just
God.
the Angels tonight. So if we're not looking to bet RBI props, maybe even a team total should be lurking on the Angels tonight. That matchup is that tasty the way it appears this morning.
All right, so we continue with some MLB recaps from yesterday as well. To Milwaukee we go for a matchup between the Brewers and the Blue Jays. It was virtually a pick-em. Milwaukee closed as a slight favorite, and they do get a victory. Willy Adames, 2 ribbies yesterday as the Brew Crew is victorious 3-1. Milwaukee, the only team in the National League Central that has a winning record, and they continue that winning way yesterday with a 3-1 win.
How about this? The Toronto Blue Jays in this game, who I thought were the better team. Jose Barrios on the mound, 5 2/3 innings pitched, 3 earned runs given up, which probably should put you in the ballpark for a chance at a win, but they didn't get one yesterday. Why? Because runners in scoring position, 0 for 1. 0 for 1 Toronto. That means they had one guy on second base that they had a chance to knock in for the entirety of those 9 innings. You take a look at Colin Ray, a 5-2 record now with an ERA of 3.31. He was great. 7 innings pitched, only 1 earned run. But let's talk about that bullpen, particularly on the back end. You see McGill now as the de facto closer. Got his 10th save yesterday, an ERA of 2 even. Which means if you've watched him pitch, he is a heavy thrower, high 90s, sometimes touching 100. But at the same time, what's going to happen when Devin Williams comes back into that rotation back end? So now you have guys that are active closers and doing well. They get pushed down to the 7th and the 8th inning for a dominant reliever to come behind them. This is a pretty good team on the Brewers, 39-27 now. And we've always anticipated those guys like, hey, you can't get rid of Josh Hader. It looks like they're finding replacements for Josh Hader. So this is one team that close games late, they should be able to win their fair share. Once Devin Williams comes back, they'll be even better at that.
Yeah, DRS, when you look at Colin Ray yesterday, a really good performance, but we do take a moment to say the words that Pat Murphy, the manager now in Milwaukee, pretty much said yesterday. The Brewers are anticipating, or I guess I should say not anticipating, the return of our guy, the gas bomb, Robert Gasser, who was sensational to start his Major League Baseball career earlier this season, late in April and into the month of May. So that a blow for the Brew Crew. That tough for us as well, as probably the ultimate Robert Gasser fans in all of Major League Baseball. But again, the Brewers, the only team in the National League Central above 500 at this moment. Milwaukee has won 8 of their last 12. Toronto did drop this game yesterday to start off the set in Milwaukee against the Brew Crew, but they still have won 9 of their last 14 as they try to get back to at least 500 and maybe above. One of the games yesterday that featured a favorite of 2 Bills or greater, that was in San Diego. The Padres with Dylan Cease on the bump, minus 235. Cease, sensational, and the Padres an easy victory over the A's, 6-1 the final.
Yeah, I thought they would get to Estes, and they did. 5 innings pitched, 3 earned runs. Talking about the San Diego Padres, they got 6 runs, which didn't surprise me. I thought the Athletics would do a little bit better than 1 run. I thought this was a pretty solid chance at a total to go over. Now, it didn't happen. Now, you take a look at the Padres. They're in that interesting spot here now. 35-35 on the season. So much talent on that baseball team, just hasn't woken up just yet. We'll find our way here if they can just get over 500 and say, okay, cleared that hurdle. Let's just see if we can get back into the wild card race. They're not going to challenge for the NL West. The Dodgers are going to be able to wrap that up because nobody can get over 500, feels like, except for the Dodgers out there in that division. But a solid win nonetheless, but also interesting. San Diego Padres, 16-21 now with that win over the A's at home. That's not good enough. Like, you want to go 16-21 on the road and then handle your business at home. That's one thing. But if you're going to be 500 and you're under 500 at home, that's got to be rectified throughout these summer months.
DRS, let's look at the National League for just a moment. There is only one division that features a 5-team grouping that has 2 of those teams above 500. That's the National League East, the Phillies and the Braves. But Philadelphia has a 9-game lead over Atlanta. We have said a few times in this segment, Milwaukee, the only team with a winning record in the National League Central. They have a 7-game lead over the Reds, Cubs and Cardinals, 7.5 in front of Pittsburgh. At least nobody is atrocious in any of those divisions. The Pirates in the cellar, but they're only 3 games below 500. So maybe it gets more competitive over the next few months this summer. The Dodgers have a 7.5 game lead over San Diego. The Padres, the only team outside of LA that is not below 500. San Diego with the win yesterday. The Padres now an even 500 at 35 and 35. We have pretty much, at least as of this moment, wrapped up all 3 divisions in the National League.
Yeah, and if we're taking a look at that National League West, too, the reason that's so interesting is the Dodgers at 41 and 26. Great record here, but we expected much, much better out of the Padres. I know they lost some players in the offseason. That's okay, but they still have the core of a team that should be well over 500. You take a look at the San Francisco Giants. Finally, they were able to spend some money, and players would take their money this offseason. It hasn't worked out in their favor. Still under 500. The Diamondbacks were the National League champions last year. Coming in this season, you thought maybe some momentum. They haven't got there at 31 and 25. And there's the Rockies obviously pulling up the rear. So we're not getting any push for the Dodgers, but also as you take a look at, and you're right, in the NL East, it's so surprising still. Like the fact that the Braves at 35 and 28 are so far behind the Philadelphia Phillies, where the Phillies actually should have won that game on Sunday against the Mets if they didn't blow that. We'd be sitting here talking about a 10-game lead, and we're not even midway through the month of June. That's insanity. And by the way, the Philadelphia Phillies, if they blow it, and look, there's a long way to go in the season, I get it. 9-game lead. They can't blow that here at this point.
No.
And as I say that, you'll probably be able to clip it, but that's an unbelievable lead against the Braves here, and I don't think they relinquish that. That's a big number.
And it's a division the Braves have won 6 consecutive seasons, and now Philly so far in front as the front runner.